and welcome back to LeeReader. My name is Lee, if you hadn't already guessed, and it is time for my August wrap-up and my September TBR. So let's start off with my August wrap-up. Now, August was a very strange month for me. It got particularly busy and I didn't have as much time to read as I wanted, but I did manage to finish 3 books that I said I was going to, which is great, but I also started 2 books, both of which I didn't finish. So the first unfinished book was The Thrill of It All by Joseph O'Connor. It was just a particularly difficult read. It had this really long introduction that was like 50-60 pages and it just kept going and going. And I got a little bored, admittedly. I might give it another go soon. I just didn't think I was in the right frame of mind maybe to read it. Because it was particularly well written, but it was just a little overcomplicated. Yeah, this introduction really killed it for me, so didn't finish it. The other book I didn't manage to finish was Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith. Now I got about 150 pages into this, and it just wasn't grabbing me as much as I thought it was. I realised it's very much about the people rather than the story, but I was getting a little bit bored-ish. It had some great points, but again, I don't think I was in the right frame of mind to read this, so I might give it another go soon and see if I can power through, because I liked the concept of this book, but it just wasn't holding me as much as I thought it would, so I didn't finish it. So let's talk about the books I did manage to read. The first one was It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vicini. Now, I already mentioned this in a couple of my videos. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. On the back, it's like, oh, it's about a young guy who is stressed with things going on in his life and ends up in a mental institution, and I thought it was going to be very much more about him being in the mental institution, and it's not. He's only there for like 3 or 4 days. It's just like a small stint. And yeah, it just seemed a bit not flimsy, shallow almost, I think. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. I don't think I'd read it again. Just wasn't as gripping as I thought it could be, or as the back of the book made it sound. So yeah, wasn't too much of a fan. The next book I read was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Now, I'd heard so much about this book and I think I went into it overhyped. I guessed the big spoiler straight away. The minute the thing happened, I was like, got it, knew it. It was between one or two options, but I was leaning more towards one, and I was right. It was a bit of a letdown. I didn't really like how it was written. I thought it was written really strangely. Didn't particularly like the characters either. Gave it a 2 out of 5. I'm going to try The Disreputable History of Frankie Landon Banks, because there were moments where it did catch my attention, but overall wasn't massive on it. And the book I last finished in August was The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer. Now, this book was brilliant. This is such a good book. It was a debut novel, and again, it kind of had the same sort of feel as It's Kind of a Funny Story. It's about a guy he's a little bit older, he's 19, and he ends up kind of in a hospital ward to be looked after because he's going through some bad stuff in his life. But it was really well written. It's about a guy who is reacting to something that happens in his life. I don't want to tell you because there is a big spoiler. And his life just kind of takes a bit of a downward spiral from that point. But it's all about the relationships that he has with his parents, his other members of his family, the people around him. But it's a great book and it's beautifully written. I also love, there's bits where he's typing on a typewriter and bits where it's typed on a computer, and they break that up, so bits like this are on the typewriter, but then you get bits like this where he's typing on a computer, and I think that's beautiful. It just adds that extra detail. But it's a great book, and I really recommend if you haven't read it. It's a great book. It's really good. So let's talk about my September TBR. Now, my carryover book from August is The Next Together by Lauren James. Now, this is a really great book. I'm really enjoying it so far. She's a local author to Birmingham, and this book is actually set in the West Midlands. It's YA, but it's also sci-fi. It's based in 2039, where a couple meet at university, Matthew and Catherine, and they've met before. They think, they're not sure. This is the sci-fi element, and it's a really good book. It's really gripping. Super enjoying it. This is a proof copy that I got, but the book is out now for you to go and check out, and I highly recommend you do, because I'm going to be finishing this book fairly soon, and it's great. Really good so far. So after I have finished The Next Together, I have 3 other books that I want to be finished in September. The first one is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. Now, I recently put on my review of The Rest of Us Just Live Here, which is a brilliant book, and I've heard only great things about the Chaos Walking trilogy, so I want to get this book read. I've been dying to read it for a long time, so I really want to get it read. Hopefully it'll be great, and that'll lead me on to the other 2 books, which I might not read in September, but if I like it enough, I probably will. But yeah, I've heard great things about this series. and hopefully it's as good as everyone makes out, so I'm holding out high hopes. After that one, I want to move on to Half Bad by Sally Green. Now, talk about late to the party and missing the bus with this one. I have heard so many things about Half Bad and Half Wild, and she's just announced Half Lost, which is the third of the trilogy, so it's about time that I started this series. I have a few friends who really, really love them, and again, I'm really hoping that they are as good as they are made out to be. From what I've heard, it's full of fantasy and magic, so I'm holding out high hopes, again, for these type of books. A lot of red going on, I've noticed, with these book covers, so we'll see what happens there. No coincidence though. But yeah, hopefully it's going to be as good as everyone makes it out to be so. And when I finish that one, I'm going to move on to The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Now, it's about time that I started this book, and with the Scorched Trials film coming out very soon, it's definitely about time that I read these. So, gonna get this read hopefully, and again, if I like them off, I'm probably gonna finish off the series, the same with the Patrick Ness books, so this could be taking up a lot of my time, trilogies in general, for the next couple of months, but we'll see how it goes. But again, I've heard great things, I've seen the film, really liked it, so hopefully the book's better. So if I do manage to finish the 3 books that I want to read, I will then move on to Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. Now, I've heard great things about this book. It was recommended to me by a colleague of mine who's a very particular reader, and he said how good it was, so I'm holding out high hopes. It's about a place called Area X, where 11 expedition groups have been before and have all mysteriously died, and this is about the 12th expedition group going there. So it's supposed to be very, very good. It's under 200 pages, so hopefully it'll be quite a quick read if I do get a chance to read it. But then again, it's the first of a trilogy, so more trilogies coming up. So I think I might have thrown myself in the deep end this month in terms of trilogies. So those are my lists. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've read any of the books either on my wrap-up or on my TBR. Let me know your thoughts, good and bad. No spoilers though, obviously. We'll have a little discussion down in the comments. And that is it for this video. I hope you're all well. Have wonderful, wonderful weekends, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Goodbye. End of the video bit. So yes, let me know your thoughts on any of the books that I have read, and we'll have a little discussion down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. No spoilers, obviously. I hope you're all well. Just to let you know, there is a book blogger bonanza happening at Waterstones in Birmingham. It's at the New Street branch. It's going to be great. I'm going to be there. There's going to be a ton of free goodies from what I believe. So please, please, please come along if you're in the Birmingham area or if you're in the UK in general. It's £5 entry, but it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful night. There's going to be like guest panelists and stuff, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you are in the UK and you want to come on a bit of a trip, Saturday the 12th of September, Saturday the 12th of September, that's the one, 7 PM. All the events are on the Waterstones website. I will put the link down below. Go and check it out and come along if you want to, because it's going to be great. So yes, I hope you're all well, have lovely weekends, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Goodbye.